Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Since I love a good nope thread, I'll contribute even though someone here is being lazy. Be a gravedigger. Only spooks are knocking and doors shutting. Sometimes the typewriter jihads itself and types gibberish. Anyways, I go to work one day. Normal day. Gonna dig me some holes. Go to open up my shop. Door is unlocked. Shove open the door while mumbling to myself about the lock being shit. It really is. I accidentally ripped the doorknob off once. A guy is standing on the other end of my shop messing with the radio. For once, I'm glad my shop is way too small and cluttered. He can't run straight at me and shiv me. The guy is wearing my jacket, asks me what I'm doing here. Tell him I work here, this is my shop. He says he works here. Look man, I know you don't. Just come on out, let's not make this a thing. I'm the new guy, I just started today. Mind you, I'm the only full-time guy at my cemetery. I would have loved to have a new guy. Look, you're wearing my jacket and the deadbolt is busted. No, this is my jacket. I know it's not, just come out here. Let's not have an issue. The dude finally comes out of my shop and says he feels like a jackass. You are a jackass, but it's fine. No harm, no foul. And look, man, if you want a job, I can get you one. Call another cemetery supervisor and ask if he needs a guy, etc. I figure the guy won't stab me if I'm on the phone with someone. Give him my number and whatnot. Tell him to call me on Monday, and I'll see if I can't get him set up somewhere nearby. Offer him a ride back to wherever he belongs. He takes me up on it. I make sure he didn't steal anything. Take him to the gas station and get him a soda. Offer to buy him a pack of smokes or whatever. He declines. Just wants a 65-cent can of Dr. Pepper. Take him back to his hobo hut. Make sure he knows to call me when his phone is charged. 2 weeks later, find some shit thrown under some bushes. Fancy man airline card and a business card. The office lady calls the guy. Turns out the guy had a bunch of shit stolen. He says quite a few people along our stretch of road have had cars broken into, or were mugged. Cops come out to the cemetery a few times. Turns out the guy I ran into is now in jail for stabbing at least one person, suspected for stabbing more. His mo is acting apologetic and waiting until a person's back is turned. He's stolen stuff from hospitals, sick people, and randos. From prior combat experience, I knew to never leave my back exposed to an unknown. I was so nonchalant and nice about the whole ordeal, he decided not to stab my kidney with a screwdriver. Plus, I never gave him the opportunity for a sneak attack. A total of like $2 in gas and soda saved me from potentially getting dead. Now I always carry my concealed carry when I open up my shop. People are still the real spooks at cemeteries.
No spoops, no shakes, no skellies, you should be ashamed.
Well, it made me nope. I'll tell you about the time I saw some fucked up shit to make up for it. Be a gravedigger. Setting up for a funeral service. Grave is dug. Casket lowering device in place. Vault in the ground. Vacuum the chapel. Make it all nice. Spray off brand Febreze to make it not smell like the building is made out of corpses. Go to help the funeral director move the casket. They have pallbearers. I ain't gotta do shit until they leave. I usually stick around if it's not a military service. At least while they're moving the casket. They can do their own thing after that. One of the pallbearers drops his end. The casket hits the floor. There was a reason it was a closed casket. Parts roll everywhere. The head rolls past me. The funeral directors escort everyone out. I have to suit up in hazmat gear. Put the body back in its places. We get a family member not crying to confirm everything is in the right spot. This lady was in 7 pieces. Had to fill out an assload of paperwork later. Got in a fight with the big boss. He thought I somehow did it on purpose. Yell at him about not wanting to ever put a decapitated head back on a body. Wind up getting hazmat pay for a couple hours. The chapel still smells like fresh death. Old death that's been embalmed smells less bad. I've shampooed the carpets twice. The smell still lingers. People still complain about it. TLDR, I put a corpse back together because some fade-ass dropped his sister. Apparently she got axed by her husband. Thus his life as a Cryptkeeper, though. Since I'm still here, how about another story? Be in a different cemetery. They have a crematorium. The supervisor there asks me to check the burn. All I have to do is open the hatch and confirm the body is burning right. Open the hatch. See a skull at eye level. Meat and fat melting off the bones. Tell the supervisor, yep, that's a spine. Apparently you need to make crematoriums tall enough for a body to sit up. When it's below about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, weird shit happens. Arms rise up towards the flames, sticks straight up. The body makes loud sighing noises. Then it sits up. Arms stretch straight out towards the hatch. Basically, you get a loud corpse looking you dead, pun intended, in the eyes. Real talk, that shit will fuck most anyone up, especially if you're not expecting it.
So I've had hearing problems since I was young. It's not that I'm a bit deaf or anything, but I just tend to pick up background noise and lower tones more easily. I've always been hearing the general thrum of being in a city, but during high school, when I packed on a few more pounds and started going for early morning jogs, I realized I was hearing things that weren't there. Like there was always a group of people talking just far enough away that you wouldn't make out what they're saying. Fast forwarding a decade. Nothing has really happened with the background noise. Sometimes it gets louder or quieter, but as long as I focus on hearing it, it's there. Now in a new town with a new job, I wind up jogging on a local nature trail to keep the fat off my ass. Go out for my regular jog. Get passed by 2 people as I go. The nature trail is in a heavily wooded forest, so plenty of blind corners. Get about 3/4 of the way down the trail before I start feeling that something's off. Realize the background noise I usually hear, like a distant conversation, has changed. It's now more like the tense whispers of the audience waiting for a show. I feel like they're silently urging me to continue on the trail. Yeah, no. Fuck this shit. Turn around to jog back. The background noises are pissed at me, and I'm pretty sure I can outright feel it. Sprint as far as I can away from whatever that was. Wind up getting to work late and sweaty. Next day, skip going for a jog. My sister calls me at work to ask me if I'm okay. Turns out a mountain lion killed 2 joggers on that trail and some woman from a nearby residence, and she was scared I got eaten. Check it online. Shit, I almost got eaten.
Be a newish professional. Work in a small office in a smallish town. The office is in a house built in 1890, or around then. It was obviously once a residence. Always working late nights because noob. That's the only time I can get anything done. Old house sounds, occasionally spooky. There was a basement, rickety wood-board stairs that led down into a spacious, dank basement that is mostly filled with boxes and boxes of old paperwork. There's a hole cut into the concrete of the floor right in the middle. It goes down at least 3 feet, either into solid concrete or the hole is lined with concrete. The hole is about 18 inches in diameter, and the bottom is filled with murky water. There's a pipe that goes up into the ceiling, who knows where, and water sometimes drips into the hole from there. The hole is sometimes very full of water to the point of almost flooding, sometimes barely any water, but strangely, there is never any mold around that I can see. I get weird feelings whenever I'm down there. The boxes are arrayed on shelves sort of like a library, and when I'm down there, I swear I hear or see out of the corner of my eye someone down there with me. Just a feeling. Late at night, I sometimes hear creaky footsteps or something like it on the 2nd floor where my office is. My desk faces out towards my door, which is always open, facing the top of the stairs which go down to the 1st floor, then to the basement. It's well past 9 p.m., and I've been working very hard on a particular issue all day and was exhausted. I doze off a little bit at my desk and kind of prop my head back. I wake up. My hands are on my chair's arms, not moving. I cannot move, starting to get a little panicked. I am staring straight ahead out my office door. I hear steps walking. A dark shape of a man walks straight by my office door, remarkably tall, with a very straight posture as he walked. The figure simply walks past the door, then down the stairs. The figure walks down the stairs, and I can hear more footsteps. Then the basement door opens, and I can hear more footsteps. At this point, I know this is probably sleep paralysis or something. But what is this man doing walking down there? I keep catching glimpses of a smaller figure looking into my office, really low down, like a child size. I can feel my sweat on my pleather chair, and I feel my heart beating in my chest. I am beyond scared. The basement door shuts. Sleep paralysis is over. I can move now. I get up right away and look down the second-floor hallway. Nothing. Go downstairs. Hear nothing. Go to the basement. The door is shut. Okay, I guess it was my waking dream or nightmare. Go back upstairs, feeling a little silly now, and the sweet rationalization is in overdrive, trying to make myself feel better. The lights go out. The power is out. It comes back on in a second. All the printers in the building are spooling up as they restarted, and I'm ready to get out of here. Grab my keys, go down the stairs, to the back door. The basement door is open. It's open like 2 inches. Was it like this before? Did I imagine going down there to check? Am I still dreaming? I'm fucking out. Get to my car. Remember that I forgot to check to see if the front door was locked. Ha ha ha, not going back into that building, run around to the front to lock it. So other than some weird feelings, that is all I've experienced here. I ask my boss who owns the building what is up with the crazy, pointless hole in the middle of the basement. He said not to worry about it. I asked someone else, and they told me that the building used to be a funeral parlor. The hole was used to drain bodily fluids of cadavers. Fuck.
I was tired, and my shift at my local Burger King just finished. Every now and then I'd go enjoy a cigar or cigarette at one single spot. Had a scooter back then. Go to this spot, which is at a mountaintop, and you can see all of the town. It's astoundingly great. Also close to a rich neighborhood, so not too bad. Lighting my smoke. Get this feeling. Something is watching me. Look around. Nothing. Smoke a little bit, and hear this deep scream come from the woods behind me. Since it's some rich neighborhood, I just thought kids like I was once were just hanging around. Keep smoking, but was on the tip of my toes. Hear branches breaking and snapping. Start getting on edge. Hear it again. Get to my scooter, but not too spooked. Try to start my scooter. Doesn't work. Have to get off of it and start it by the kickstart. Right as I get off, I hear these loud footsteps coming straight for me, about 20 to 30 yards away. They are running quick as shit. Managed to start the scooter. Nope, out of there.
Be me, 14 to 15 years old, hanging around an old viaduct with my friends, drinking mainly beer, about 2 miles from the nearest village, 2.5 miles from my home. The way home is nothing but fields upon fields. Starting to get dark, my dad calls and tells me to come home for dinner. My friends decide to stay there for a while longer, and I make my way home through the wheat and corn fields. Decide, fuck it, and watch the sun disappear behind the horizon. Pitch black now, but I have the light on my phone, so no biggie. Notice the fields have crop circles in them and get a chill up my spine a little. Again, no biggie, as me and my friends used to try to make them. Have a crushing fear of aliens, but also they're my curiosity too. Anyway, continue walking through the fields in the dark. Almost trip over a few hedgehogs. God damn it, Sonic.jpg. Carry on walking and make it to the old railway tracks not too far from home. Light up a smoke and slowly walk through the cornfield. My house is on the opposite side of this field. Hear a scraping sound like when your foot slips on dirt. Look around, don't see shit. Turn the flash on my phone on and have another look. Just see corn and bugs flying around. Turn off my flash and turn around about to carry on with my journey. That's when I heard it. A very low-pitched hiss-type sound, like an alligator, but slower and more bassy. Almost snap my neck turning around, flash on and look again. Can't see anything. Hear that sound again, but coming from my left-hand side. Turn again and shine my light. Two eyes light up like a Christmas tree about 10 meters away. Just froze in position and shit my britches. The eyes just stare from inside the crops and hiss away. Hear the corn stalks snap and rustle from behind me with heavy footsteps following. Fucking booked it right out of there as fast as I could. Hear the corn snapping and rustling like whatever they were chasing me. See my house and clear the fence like an athlete on crack. The fence was about 7 feet high. Pick my ass off the grass and straight into my house. Mom and Dad ask me what's wrong, and I explain that I was just chased by something through the fields. Dad goes out and has a look around, peeking his head over the fence using my sister's slide. Comes back 5 minutes later and says he didn't see anything, but he heard the crops rustling and snapping going away from the fence. About 4 hours later, I go up to my room and just chill out and watch a movie. Open my window and have a smoke. My room overlooked the backyard and fields. A few minutes go by and I flick my smoke into the neighbor's yard. Leave the window open to air my room out a bit and finish watching the movie. Turn the TV off and play around on my laptop in bed. Hear that noise again. Sphincter tightens, and I freeze again. The floodlight activates outside. Get my air rifle from the wardrobe and load it. Look out of the window and see a shadow lurking behind the fence. Look around my garden and see another shadow going into my shed. I scream at the top of my lungs for my mom and dad and run downstairs to my dad. Tell him the things are in the garden that followed me. He goes to the pantry and picks up a golf club and goes outside. We hear the things run off into the field screeching. We look in the shed and there's just blood everywhere. I mean, everywhere. Those fucks had ripped open my ferret cage and ripped my ferrets to pieces. Cry like a bitch because I loved those furry little bastards. After a while, realize one ferret was missing, my Ivan. Search around some more but can't see him. He must have escaped. Look around the garden for him, but no luck. My dad locks the shed and says we'll have a better look in the morning. Cried myself to sleep. Wake up about 5 a.m. to grunting coming from the backyard again. Look out the window and see my back gate open. See 2 humanoid figures standing a few feet away from the gate. They are standing in my garden, looking directly at me with those glowing eyes. They stood about 5 feet high with no neck, about the same build as a child in terms of torso height and width. I get my air rifle and take aim at them. One of them raises its arms in the air as if it's surrendering. Its arms are holding on to something, though. Hear an ungodly squeal as its arms separate in midair. The thing throws whatever it was at my window. Splat goes my window. shout for my dad and start shooting at these fucks. Not enough to do major damage, just enough to piss them off. Dad rushes into my room just in time to hear one of the things let out a mighty bellow and roar. I tell Dad what just happened, and he looks out of my window to see the things running through the cornfield. We go look around the garden, and Dad shuts and bolts the back gate. We look around below my window and find Ivan. The poor guy was in 2 pieces. Those shitheads had ripped him apart in front of me. Cry again. The following few nights I didn't sleep at all, mainly waiting by my window for those fucking things to come back. But they never did. My dad thought it was just some teenagers messing around with us. A few months later, we moved house away from the fields and into a more populated part of the village surrounded by other houses. It was strange because my dad never wanted to move from that house, being that it was my granddad's old house. But fuck it, I wasn't complaining. The further away from the fields, the better. My dad started taking me to the local gun range, and after about a year we both got our firearm certificates and basically ended up best buds. Never really bonded with my dad properly. About a year afterwards, he told me over a drink why we moved from that house. He said about a month after the ferrets getting torn apart and me seeing shit, he was playing on his PlayStation downstairs and heard the back gate rattle and thought nothing of it. Then he heard a scraping on the glass door. We had a sliding door thing, don't know the name for it. And when he looked, he saw what I saw last month and literally shit himself. This happened while I was asleep. He said they just stared at him and made those low, throaty noises before leaving before sunrise. And that's why we moved and why he developed a sudden interest in guns. We have never seen those fucks again, but we gained permission to shoot on that field behind our old house and regularly looked for the things for a few years until I moved out. From then on, though, I never kept a pet outside, and I mostly work night jobs now, so I never sleep when it's dark. I ain't risking being caught off guard by those fucks.
Not exactly a nope story, but more of a funny little story with a twist. Be a reserve deputy with the local sheriff department. Be on patrol on a Saturday night. The county has a covered bridge built in the 1850s. Many years ago, a new bridge was built next to the old one, and the local town near it bought some land next to it to make a tiny park to go along with the bridge. Hear over the radio one of the nearby town officers call in that he was 1020, located at the covered bridge. Then he calls in a 1027, driver's license check. Then he calls in another 1027. After 15 1027s, LOL, what the fuck is this guy single-handedly breaking up a party? A few hours later, I find out he ran across a group of out-of-area ghost hunters that heard about the bridge and were there to find spooky shit. The park is closed from dusk till dawn, so they had to go. The twist. 2 months prior, a local resident decided that the world was fucked, grabbed a rope, and heroed himself from the bridge rafters. A month later, another local resident decided that the world was fucked and thought that the other guy had a baller idea and heroed himself from the rafters at the bridge too. 2 suicides in 2 months placed the location in an increased patrol situation. If the ghost chasers only knew, they would probably be pissed being run off.
Be about 20. Wild camping in the middle of nowhere, rural Scotland, just me and a friend. We're pretty good and experienced. Trap our own food like rabbits and shoot deer. Not sure if legal, but we didn't care. Usually stay out there for a week or so. We're about 2 to 3 miles away from the car, just chilling in this large wooded area surrounded by hills and shit. Got a good little setup going on. Couple of hammocks covered by tarps and a couple of tents. Nice fire pit. A few nights into the trip, we are drinking whiskey and target shooting with the pistol-style crossbow he brought with him, having a laugh and warming up by the fire until it got too dark to see properly. Gets stupidly dark, cloudy as hell, no moon or stars. Decide to just sit out since it was still nice by the fire. Middle of talking about some bullshit or other stuff. Snap of a twig about 30 meters away to my right, out of reach of the light, and we're totally night blind. We both freeze and turn towards the sound. Another snap slightly to the left and slightly closer. Friend picks up the crossbow. The rifle is in the tent behind us, and we really didn't want to move or turn our backs. We wait for what seems like ages but is probably about 10 seconds. Another snap directly to my right, really close. I'm between the fire and whatever it is. I nope out and shuffle around to the other side of the fire without looking away to sit next to my friend. Safety in numbers and all that. Rustling. Something moving around in the trees. Can kind of see shadows moving, but nothing else. Friend shouts out suddenly, "Whoever that is, I'm going to start shooting if you don't fuck off." I swear to God we hear a snort, sort of like an animal snort, but also sort of like a human scoff when someone says something stupid. About 10 more minutes and it sounds like it is literally on the edge of the light of the fire. Another twig snaps and my friend fires a bolt straight at it. Hear a thud and a weird grunt. More rustling but moving away. Sounds move around the fire but get steadily further away. Eventually can't hear anything. Stay awake all night. Start packing up as soon as it is light enough to see. I say that maybe it was a wolf. They say there are none left, but people report seeing them in Scotland all the time. Friend says no way, but we need to leave. I ask why. He says he shot too high and heard it hit. I mention that we were both freaked out and maybe he misremembers. He wanders off into the trees, taking the crossbow with him. I carry on packing up. A few minutes later, he shouts me from about 15 meters away from the fire. The bolt is stuck in a tree at my shoulder height. I am 6 feet 3 inches. Blood around the bolt and on the tree. Some on the floor too. Droplets leading away where we heard the noises moving last night. He tries to pull the bolt out of the tree but can't. I tell him to leave it. We power walk to the car, so paranoid and intent on looking around. I didn't notice walking through a patch of nettles until later. Spend the next 3 days at his house with all the lights on 24/7, drinking and watching Family Guy. Never been back to the area since. We have gone once more, but in a larger group and at a manned campsite. Never doing that shit again. We have told a few people, but not a single one believed us. Just thought it was us trying to creep them out.
I'll share something from my childhood I think about on occasion. Be me around 6 or 7. I was playing in the yard. It was summer, and most of my friends went off to their other parents, usually to their dad. This town was filled with families whose parents had separated or divorced. I was hanging out in the front yard, occasionally going to the 2 trees to the right side of my house and climbing them, digging at a section of the ground, looking for treasure. I decided to go play with the ant piles over on the left side of the house, since that place was infested with them, and I felt like they needed an extermination. Dad gets home. We regard each other as we passed, asked about each other's day, but the conversation fizzled quickly. I walked to the side of his pickup and noticed some weird worm-looking creature or object. In my young mind, I imagined it to be a skinned snake, not sure why. Looking back on the memory, there would have been nothing that suggested muscle or anything that seemed like sinew. I remember it as being an off color of white, like a foot-long maggot that had a weird vanilla tinge to it. I can't remember if it was limp or moving. shiggy-diggied out of there because something about it scared me. Went to tell my parents that there's a snake near the pickup. They both went out. I stayed in the house for a bit, then followed them. They were near the pickup discussing whatever it was. The only thing I remember from the conversation was my mom asking my dad how it got there. My dad just kind of shrugged and said, "I don't know. The thing must have hooked on under my truck." "Well, let's not tell Anon about this," my mom said. Dad got a gallon bucket and scooped it up with a shovel. It seemed to try and roll out of the way of the shovel's blade. He put the bucket in the back of his truck and took it somewhere to dispose of it. I still haven't asked them about it. Doubt if they would remember the incident anyway.
About a year ago, living in a shit cabin on the edge of the woods. Not in the middle of nowhere, though, right by the road in a town. Staying up late, reading about ancient Canaanite religions and cults and shit on my phone, listening to Egyptian-y music, 'cause sometimes I like to read to appropriate instrumentals. Get up to go pee, no plumbing, so I just go outside by my usual tree. Hear the sound of a fucking flute, like a pan flute, freeze in place, suddenly have spidey senses hearing enhanced from a mild adrenaline dump. It's a real sound and it's coming from the tree line. It's playing an Egyptian-y melody. Start to try to rationally go through the possibilities. My phone is in my pocket and isn't playing music anymore. The property is adjacent to a popular campground, so maybe it's stupid kids sneaking onto our property again, except this tree line is on the south side of our property. The campground is to our north. The music continues playing. Sometimes seems to be close to the tree line edge, other times deeper in the woods. Still frozen in place in my pajamas like an idiot, telling myself to stop being a coward. Suddenly remember that my wife and I had gone out into that section of woods a few months before. Start to completely nope out. A few months before, we had found a nice big pond puddle out there in an open clearing, and I had also earlier found a huge section of tree root that I thought was cool and carved Norse runes into. Why not? Stood the rune root upright at the head of the pond and staked sticks in a ring around the pond. Cool little shrine to Odin. Couple months later, we have a piglet who's not going to make it. Wife says we need to mercy kill it. Bright idea. Why not give it a send-off at the shrine? Grab a hatchet, take it into the woods with the piglet. Nice night, bright moon, reflecting pool looks downright elvish. Place little piggy across from the rune root. Say a little prayer for the poor thing. Blood into water. Both kind of sad, but what can you do? Go back to the house, leave the piglet. Fast forward to me shitting my pajamas. This flute music is coming from that same direction. I actually say to myself out loud, don't be a wuss. Go out there and see what the hell it really is. The flute melody sounds like some fucking court jester mocking me out in the woods. Can't do it? Can't go out there at night with no weapons? Fuck that shit. Even if I had a gun, I wouldn't. Start thinking this is actually my first major encounter with the supernatural in waking life. My brain is having trouble processing. Go back in the cabin, no lock on the door, oh well, grab my old antique sword, no joke, and knife, and put them by the bed. Go to bed sweating bullets and completely freaked, trying to imagine any mundane explanation. A couple weeks later, I think I found one. We were keeping chickens under the cabin at the time, and the hens were roosting all up in there. If you spend time with hens, you know that they make weird little quiet cooing noises when they're nervous, or if you wake them up at night. Still, to this day, I get shivers typing this out because I just don't know if that's good enough to explain the melody of it.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.